Hello fellow wood turners. Today's project is going to turn this piece of yew, which has been kicking around my shop for probably the best part of 2 years now, into a goblet. Not decided whether I'm going to attempt to do some rings on it, but it may well be captive ring, but we'll see what we actually find in there. So if you fancy watching that, please stick around. Well, the first job is to actually get this piece of yew round. It's quite out of balance at the moment, being a log, but we'll soon remedy that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so if you're enjoying the content. And if you have subscribed, thank you very much. I can actually make this the goblet end, coming down to the base down here, because a lot of this will be turned away for the stem. Otherwise I'm going to end up with this quite narrow. So what I'll do now is I'll square the ends off so I can actually put it in the sea drawers. I just need to check the size to make sure that I've got enough there to actually put that in the sea drawers. I've got about 3/8 of an inch to play with there, or 10mm. Square this end off. So using the 3/8 parting tool. My apologies for the slightly muffled commentary. I was obviously wearing my full protective mask, and it does muffle your speech. So I hope you could hear what I was on about, but basically I'm using the 3/8 parting tool now to put some tenons to hold this on in the sea drawers. Just squaring the ends off here. I've actually reversed this and put it in the sea drawers now, and I'm starting to cut down the shape of the goblet down to the stem. So it's using a 1/2 inch bowl gouge. Swap over now to a spindle gouge. I'm actually using a 1/2 inch spindle gouge here. Just doing a shear cut with the spindle gouge there. You'll notice from the sound that there's an awful lot of vibration going on here. I'm obviously turning into end grain, which is always hard anyway, but this yew is particularly hard. As you'll see in a minute, I actually don't go any deeper and I start hollowing it out with a Forstner bit. Here's the start of the Forstner bit. That's a 25mm Forstner bit, or 1 inch. Basically step up to a 38mm, which is about 1.5 inches, just over. And finally, this is about 1.5 inches, this Forstner bit I'm actually using here. I've obviously gone to varying depths down that to try and keep the shape of the goblet inside. It's a negative rake scraper now, just to smooth off the inside. Still getting horrendous vibration here, as you can hear from the sound. Don't copy what I do, that is a bad habit of mine, to actually slow the turning down. Right, I'm introducing the ball into the end now to calm this vibration down while I actually turn the stem down. Using my large skew there just to use as a scraper, just to finish the edge of the outside of the goblet off. Just finishing off the inside now, going through the various grits, and then I'll focus on the actual outside after this. Using some sanding sealer, and then a bit of wood wax 22 to polish it inside. A bit of abrasive paste wax first though, some cut and polish. Wood wax 22 going in now. I'm reintroducing the ball. Going to start turning down the stem and cutting the rings now. I'm forming a small bead at the bottom of the goblet there, which I decided later on that it was a little bit too thick, so I did change the design, but unfortunately I didn't actually film that bit, but you will see that it turns into a cove later on. Using one of my favourite tools there, that's a 3/8 spindle gouge, and I'm back on a 3/8 parting tool now to take this stem down to the correct width. You can see the bead that I've made quite clearly there, but as I say, the shape of it I felt that was a little bit too big, so I did change it later on. Preparing for the first ring now. I don't have the ringing tools basically to do this with a proper tool, but I'm using a spindle gouge to obviously round the top now, and then I'll use a thin parting tool to actually cut it away from the inside, from the stem. Cut in from both sides and swap to a very thin tool now just to finish it off, and you'll see it'll separate. There we go. Taking the stem down to its final width now. And you can see I've actually changed the bead below the goblet to a cove now, and what I'm doing here is actually just smoothing off the inside ridge that was left after these were parted off with a parting tool. It's on the left hand side. I've actually turned two beads there. They actually complement the two rings that are on the stem. Bit of a laborious task this, basically getting the inside smooth, and I've cut it down to the minimum, but you basically get the idea of what I'm doing here. I'm now securing them so I can actually sand down the stem. I'll fix them to the left hand side first, and then I'll swap it over to the right hand side. You need to do this because they're a bit of a pain bouncing around otherwise. I'm swapping them over to the right hand side so I can actually get the base to sand that down. Just doing a little bit of slight OG on the base here, just to finish off the design. I'm using a combination of a 1/8 and a 1/16 parting tool to part this down almost to the point where it's actually separated, but I need to just sand it off first before I actually do the final separation. Using a slight undercut there, so it'll be slightly concave, the base will, so that it sits square. Working through the grits now, just to finish this off. I'm applying sanding sealer now to the bits that haven't obviously been done up to now, but this is obviously in preparation for the wood wax that will finish it off. The wood wax is going on now. Final buffing. Finishing parting this off now with a 1/16 parting tool. Actually, this is the 1/16 parting tool. That was a 1/8 before. And we're just about to separate now. Just sanding off the little nub that was left after I parted this off now. That's the final step. Just a little bit of sanding sealer and some wood wax onto the base. And here it is, the finished article. I managed to put 2 rings on it. One has unfortunately ended up slightly thicker than the other one, but once you've parted them off, there's not a lot you can do about that. It's a nice piece of yew, and I'm pleased with the shape of it. There's just a slight crack developing on the edge there, but that's the nature of yew, unfortunately. It's a beautiful wood, but it can be a bit of a pig for splitting, cracking, but it's come out. So I hope you enjoyed that, and if you've not subscribed already, please consider subscribing if you wish to see more content like this, and I'll see you very soon. Have a Merry Christmas.